Alright, okay, let's go on. Inspect my breweries. Take our manor. There was a rat race of innovation and development. Same manner. The smoke was so thick. Oh. I mean, this is good for me. I always have usually AC blasting in the back. It's around winter time now, so I don't think it's gonna be too much of a problem. The smoke was so thick I could hardly see it more than a few feet in front of me. You could compare it to a dense orange fog, but that might give the impression of the beauty. And there was little of that to be found in this haze. Do I see the silhouettes of several men in a smoky room? The one in the middle, the one looking in my direction, was the present master of the house. This man, Jacopo. His name was Jacopo in English, or whatever. And though he dressed in such fine attire, you must sincerely doubt he understood how splendid the furnishing must have naturally were. You are a faithful servant of the house, and you would not, for the life of you, dare speak ill of your master. However, this is a time long past. You can imagine God would be so kind as to turn a blind eye of honesty to a little bit of honesty. You were not terribly fond of your master back then. He had wavy hair, the color of over-dry teas, piercing gaze, and an arrogant smile, and he wore a hat that made him look rather high. He put his trust only in money, renown, and rank. He loved only the iron and steel that had revolutionized so many industries. He had not the slightest bit of love or care for other people. And he's gonna fall in love to the same white-haired girl. At the very least, that is what you believed at the time. Take a look around the room. Jacopo had remodeled it into Master Jacopo had remodeled it into a recreational area. Oh well, I read that incorrectly. A billiards table sat in the center of the room, and the downward-facing lights hanging from the ceiling were especially lit. The lights shone upon the dark room, staying like a stage. Cigars and Bourbon-lined glass case installed in place of bookshelves. The cases were always fully stocked, their contents available to partake of readily. At that particular moment, as he had many times before, Jacopo had invited several friends and acquaintances, and they were entertaining themselves. His wealthy, high-ranking acquaintances had a variety of hair colors, from polished brass to the brown of a baby robin to the color of sunburned wheat. There were also much greater variation in skin tone compared to the visitors and residents of previous eras. But that was hardly any surprise, for the mansion sat upon land inhabited largely by immigrants, the New World. Your princess are bloody bored. Is that a reference to something? Bloody bored. Or is that just like his blood, like cursing the board? Lord. Just give me a sec. Searching it up on the phone. Is this a reference to Ghost? Or is it Lord having ample distance from side to side while covered? Broad. I'm trying to figure out what this means. This ghost lady. The ghost lady is the white-haired girl, I think. I mean, she showed up 100 years after, looking just as young, if not better. The men's deep voices resonated in crowded as they imbibed alcohol and puffed on their cigars. Cuban cigars! They conversed mostly about business and money. I wouldn't think of anything else. Yakpo and the rest of the men were read as investors. It's Cuban cigars. You might also call them tacticians. They survived on information. I might as well. Oh, sorry. They might as well call them tacticians. They survived on information attained before anyone else by making swift decisions and having foresight. Though instead of a flesh and bone, their soldiers were made of ink and paper. To an outsider, this meeting might appear to be a congregation of friends, but in reality, they were observing one another, gathering information instead of anything else they could use to get ahead. At times, money and information were exchanged directly, and when they were no longer of financial value to one another, a relationship would pop like a bubble and disappear into nothing. Let me search up Yakpo. Is this a historical figure, or is this just a made-up name? Probably it's just made up. Oh, never mind. I mean, Hakuo is or Jacopo, or it's a first name, so there's a lot of Jacopos. Jacopo went silent, but you're certain this is what was going through his head. At the time, the Great Railway was being built across the British continent. Construction was spearheaded by two large rail companies. The competition for both prestige and a bigger share of this massive national enterprise. The Union Pacific Railroad Company started building from the east. That is actually true. I would like to think. Yeah, it's that's actually real. Started building from the east and Central Pacific Railroad Company from the west. But government bonds alone were not enough to finance a massive undertaking. So these investors chip in, and they get payback. Damn, heartless. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's a very highly capitalist country. You're just like, oh, you're sick? You're out. I'm paying you $1 for every week? Yeah, that's enough. If you don't like it, get out. Someone else is gonna take that job. That's how it's like back then. Yes. $7 at the time a week. That's around like $100. Today, so 100, 200. I wouldn't say 1,000. 1,000 a week, working like backbreaking job, like 60 hours a week or something, for $1,000 in today's terms. Yeah, that's real fun. It's real fun. Capitalism. Blacks are yellows. Damn. Asians, Africans, other things. Also other things. Chinese, their army and services country. That is what you would like to think. You're not the one voting. The more object takes, the more money it costs, and the less profit you make. The other men in the room chuckled uncomfortably at Yakubo's distasteful choice of words. She's down with Congress. Distasteful. Yeah, I mean, it surely is distasteful. It's pretty wrong. Do I agree with this way of thinking? I would say I don't know. Humans, if you really want to think about it, are a resource, a valuable resource. But they are a resource. Perhaps he does have a point in that great sacrifice is necessary to accomplish great things. And it is true that tragedy often lies in the shadow of the splendor of the times long past. Furthermore, the way people see the world changes with the time, so you hesitate to criticize him too severely. Now, as you are sure I have already picked up on, he was an investor who had put money into a railroad company. He also possessed several crude oil refineries, riding on the world's second wave of industrial development. Rockefeller! I'm pretty sure he is not it, but... Imagine two bustle of life in a way it never had before. Dozens of maids, including you, gardeners, chefs, sculptors, artists. At the times, you even had riders coming in and out of the house. There was rarely a moment of silence. Man, he just found this mansion with materials, like, and it's random maid sitting in it, like, hey, let's try to make it better. However, you are not terribly fond of the hustle and bustle personally. But please do not get you wrong. You're hardly supposed to imagine being cheerful. It was just, how should you put it? The splendor of the time seemed superficial, heartless. It was as though everyone was being rushed on by some unknown invisible force. Part of it was, you expect, caused by the growing divide between those standing at the top and sitting at the bottom. Or perhaps the mansion was simply taking after its master. Him or the mansion? You're sure it happens. You need more money and more power. Suddenly, a restrained knock on the door softly strained off. From beyond the door came a woman's voice. Gentle as the softest spring breeze. Oh. Yeah, of course. When the door opened, in it stood a beautiful woman with pure white hair. It was indeed her. Am I surprised? No. Or did I anticipate her appearance? That which I did. Though she was not the same age and dressed differently, the white-haired girl, whom I saw fall into the hands of misfortune in the era of roses and the era of the beast, were also present in this era of innovation. Furthermore, she was Jacopo's wife. Oh! Interesting. Huh? Okay. Huh, that's actually interesting. It's already developed before anything happens. How did she agree to it? Or she's forced into, but like this is a magical magic. I don't know. I understand if it's like a normal person in a normal house at the time, and he was this wealthy patron, and it's like the girl kind of just gets forced into it. But how? I'm pretty sure she's not idiotic or stupid. She can tell he's not the best of persons or people. His friends were unsure of how to act, but ultimately nobody stepped up to stop Jacopo. They merely shrugged, tossing glances at one another. Yakuo swung over to the white-haired girl. He then grabbed her by the arm, dragged her from the den. The den. Oh, that's good. Ah, so he was a different man back then. Or he had a different personality. Looking utterly downtrodden, what her girl made such a hideous right she was. As he watched her go, Yakuo immediately smiled. Just thinking about the way he behaved and angry. He had little fondness for men who captured their spouse's respect. So as I can see, the white-haired girl was a highly joyous situation. She was devoted to Yakuo and tried to do whatever she could for him, but he did not only brush her aside, he did so in an insulting, deliberately harmful manner. They were far apart from picturesque friends. That worry under then asked her why she married him. The answer to that question will come to light in time. For now, let us follow her. Look down dejectedly at the undrunken tea. The white-haired girl walked alone down the corridor. Though its calming scent filled the air, there was nobody around to have her heart warmed by it, nor was there any more to alleviate her loneliness. Despite being the master's wife, the maids who crossed her path in the hall said nay a word to her. As a matter of fact, one even bumped into her, sniffling a laugh as she fought it off. In all likelihood, she had done it intentionally. The poor white-haired girl, who had fallen to the floor, stared helplessly at the broken cups. The tea she had made for her husband was forming a stain in the carpet. The maid's behavior towards the mistress of the house was absolutely unacceptable. Now, nonetheless, it was commonplace, all because of the way Yakuo treated her. The more the men of the house acted cruel to her, the less sway her position as his wife held to the servants. Day in and day out, the maids worked busily, offered little opportunity for leisure, so they would naturally have accumulated quite a bit of stress, and she became the target of them to let off this steam. Not directly, but through a more subtle kind of harassment from the shadows. She must have felt quite miserable. You imagine she would have been better off as one of the maids. On the surface and in front of the others. This water. You skip this part, so it's gonna be a while from that. Where are we? No, that's on the surface, in front of others, he showed respect for her as close pride. Behind closed doors, he acted very much the opposite. The disparity between the treatment she received around others, the treatment she was supposed to receive at all times, and the way she was acting, she treated him with the abuse, that much worse. And furthermore, as I have seen through other doors, she was a very reserved young woman. She could neither raise her voice in reprimand nor raise her hand in retaliation. She extended her spindly fingers towards the shards of shattered crockery. But even the broken cup seemed to have no concern to spare her. Its shattered edge cut her fingertip when she made to pick it up. A trickle of warm red blood ran across her unearthly white skin. As painful as it was, it had a sort of taboo beauty to it. The blood spilling from her fingers showed no signs of slowing down. She clenched her hand into a fist, let out a sigh, and went back to collecting the shards of clothing. And when she did, while all the other maids ignored her, one came running over, shouting to the white-haired girl's side. She roared like the wind in a thunderstorm. Other maids stood there dumbfounded, watching as she and the white-haired girl disappeared down the hall. They were soon frowning and bumping into one another. The woman's name was Maria. She was one of the maids, obviously. And she was the one person mentioned why her girl could think of it as an ally. Her husband paid her no mind, and the maids made her life miserable. There's one person, Maria, treated her with respect and kindness, and you're sure I can readily imagine just how much of a lifesaver that was for her. You too find yourself somewhat relieved that Maria was there for her. Being a servant of this house, you was also one of the maids working there at the time. However, you were unable to involve yourself to any great degree in her fate, considering that there was little you could do to assist her, even in times of pain and unpleasantness. The best you could do was pray that Maria would continue to lead the white-haired girl her hand. Not lead. Oh, but are they friends? I mean, they clearly are, but friends before she was married and before she was a servant. Compassion. No. The lonely white-haired girl Maria was acting much more friendly and relaxed as opposed to her no-nonsense attitude in the hallway. The two women were, as I can see, quite close. That cut cross over the wall, separating masters from servants and built a bond of friendship. At some point, they had begun to speak frankly with one another when no one else was around. Maria was the only person in this mansion around whom the white-haired girl felt comfortable being open. You imagine she was very much enjoyed. She very much enjoyed these moments of conversation. I wish to know who headmaid was. Ah, yes. Am I sure I want to ask you that?
好线啊，这手机的
这是我的充电，我是蛮准线。Sorry about that. Some questions are better left unasked for my own good. Huh? What? That's weird, Maria. That is really weird. Is it tobacco? Damn the alcohol. How did they get married? Yeah, that's a good advice. Great advice, mate. Very, that's seriously, this is very great advice, and you should follow it. Kind man. That's it. I suspect that it's her fate. She is always born, reincarnated every 100 years, and then her fate is to land within the mansions, one way or the other. why? Whoa. Oh, yes! That made a lot of sense. That made a lot of sense. Yes, at the time, 1870s, no, this was 1800s. Yes. Noble families that were deteriorating, like noble houses from ancient ages, they were deteriorating. They were losing wealth and power. And these are noble blood, noble big or quotation marks, as if that actually matters. And wealthier houses had money, but they weren't. It was like, they weren't noble. They were just like common. They were common people. Like, imagine a peasant that's really wealthy. Like, basically, imagine you had a king and the peasant, but the peasant was wealthier than the king. That's how it was. So, I could, like, this is reasonable. The arrangement, actually, you see this a lot, actually, if you look into history. This happens something like decently often for what it was during this time period, of course. Each had what the other lots. I mean, you never saw each other until this moment. It's like there's no love. I guess until sorry, love at first sight is debated, but yes, it can exist. But I don't assume it's the same for him. Tired. Aggressive and steadfast. He's rude as ever. Hurriedly climbed onto the carriage he had called for, look of frustrated displeasure on his face, and then, as if he had forgotten all about you until that moment, he returned, grabbed you by the arm, led you to the carriage. In retrospect, you realized he was not being very gentle, but you were pleased that he was making any attempt to interact with you at all. As the carriage trotted down the streets, you saw so many new things. You had spent most of your time cooped up inside that home, so it was like stepping into an entirely new world. And add that to the rapid industrial advancement currently taking place. You saw men were shouting back and forth as they snacked newspaper articles with the back of their hands. You saw corner cafes crowded with cigar smoking men on a break from work. It was like the hustle and bustle of a festival. But every festival has its endless You also saw overworked men looking like they were on the verge of collapse, drinking water from a spigot on the side of the road. By the way of contrast, you wore fine clothing and had a carriage at your disposal. You imagine every day was a struggle for them just to remain afloat. Had you not married the man you had, you too might have found yourself on the streets in a similar situation. It was not relief that upset your breast at the sight of them. Those pains of guilt. It felt to you like a life of opulence was wrong, sinful. It broke your heart to know that you were living so much better than them. Yakubo snorted, disapproving at you, seemingly reading your mind, and then said, "We're so surprised." That's actually that's not bad. This is not a bad ideal. Excessive charity will ruin a man, make him expect handouts. Yes, that is true. We see it around America, actually. And then there are those wrong who let himself fall down some places. That's not how make the poor feel better. It won't. It really won't. You still don't feel like it. You say nothing, simply smile and give an ambiguous nod. He had a point. Your sympathy and guilt meant nothing to people actually experiencing hardship. If feeling guilty of your own fortune, you acted upon that pity in the way he had it described, it would accomplish little more than self-satisfaction. He seemed to have seen straight into your very core. This was a man who had built his own fortune through investment, which you imagine required him to be rather astute. But it isn't a world where everyone is constantly trying to climb higher and higher sound rather exhausting. You personally would prefer to be in a position where you could watch, if only from a distance, as others climbed. Well, obviously, you cannot say that as much to him. Sometime later, the carriage came up to a stop in front of a shop. As you looked at the buildings perplexedly, he gestured to the floor with his chin, signaling for you to get out. Lost and confused, you stepped out from the carriage. Before you spread a showcase behind a large glass window. However, lined up in the case were not precious metals or expensive clothing, but machines. At first, you had no idea what kind of devices they were. Oh, photo. The man came out to greet us with a wide smile as we entered the shop. Hmm? Huh. The cars may fall. Ah, he's calling me so stupid. sat down in front of a large mirror, which you presume was normally used to check your appearance before having a picture taken. My picture was taken. Sitting before a mirror with someone else present was quite nerve-wracking. Out of embarrassment, you dropped your gaze to your knees. But when Yakubo returned, you were entranced by the curious object in his hands. Wow, he looks goofy now in this like view, and she looks just fine as ever. Put a new image in this face. Standing behind me, he slid a finger across the top of the particular toy, causing it to spin gracefully. And then it's moving. Well enough for the age. You were mesmerized by the strange phenomenon. Pictures were moving, after all. Still images had begun dancing before. It was almost as if God had breathed life into them. He had called them an illusion, but you could not grasp that. It was such an adorable, heartwarming sight. You imagined the two were off living in some other world separate from your own. You looked so happy. You were almost certain that they were off dancing in their joyous world, free from all the sorrow and loneliness and pain of this one. Eventually, the speed at which they danced began to slow, as if they were resting little legs. You almost thought you could hear the sound of their feet with each step. They stopped. And that's forever. So please. Yeah, okay, Mr. Scientist, I can't fucking read that either. So yeah, I might as well be all children if we can't even figure out what this means. Kinetoscope. Close enough. 30 years ago. He's kidding! Oh my god. Oh. That's how movies were made. Right, friends. Tell me the truth. Yes. You wanted to spend a little more time playing with the kid. Fenakes, Biancas, but you could not bring yourself to say as much. Reluctantly, you approached the owner to return the rule. Having said that, Yakubo exited the shop. You alternated between looking at his back and the thing festival, debating what you wanted to do. And then, with a smile, the owner whispers to you. In that moment, the Fenakes will become precious treasure to you. God only just married days earlier, and yet he had commissioned it for you without even realizing what you look like. You were filled with a warm and pleasant elation. You agreed with the owner. Yakubo was not a bad man. He merely had difficulty expressing himself. Hurrying back to the carriage, you gave him your deepest thanks. He glanced over at you for a moment, then he turned back towards the windows and muttered, "Yeah." From there, we went to a restaurant for dinner. You call this a pizza? The crust is an atrocity. It's like I'm chewing on rubber. However, can you wave my country's flag and not have spaghetti? Do you have any shame at all? This wine was pitiful and balanced. There are too high levels of audacity. Listen to me carefully. House Wines is the face of a restaurant. He complained about every little thing. It was a complete disaster. But curiously enough, you were not all put off by his behavior. When the sun set, the carriage made its way to a nearby hill. The cool nighttime breeze felt wonderful on your skin, flushed from the alcohol, and the light from the glass lamps had a comforting warmth to it. Though Yakubo had complained about the quality of the wine once he had intoxicated himself, his mood improved visibly. It made him unexpectedly talkative. Ah. Guess I don't want to do anything about that. Oh, I never felt that. Damn, that's creepy. That's actually more creepy than the other two. Huh? comfortable way. Uncomfortable. You like her instead? Oh damn, that does not look good. Huh. Rose. Oh, it's made. Like last time. Well. They turn red. Red. Yes. Oh, okay, so for the past two stories, you just didn't interact with her that much. The maid took her in on the first story, and then on the second one, they just never saw each other. Now you're telling her about the past, as if she's gonna remember. Great. Unless they did interact in the second story, and I just did not ever pick it up. We know they have. She reminded her of the first story at the start, and then just never said anything. Yeah, she doesn't know. It's like you're talking of madness. Again. Morgana. The name is pronounced the same as the name personally. wrong. One day. One day. You're just gonna destroy it? That's. You're cringe. Approximately a week had passed since then. The white-haired girl was, as usual, spending her time in her room, eating, staying outside the house. Then Maria barged in. Oh, there you go. Upon hearing news, white-haired girl dashed from her room and towards the garden, Maria following close behind. When she arrived, she saw a dozen or so sweaty, rugged men at work, Jaco shouting orders. The men clearly had no concept of how much single flower was worth, no concern whatsoever for their beauty, for they must mercilessly, thoughtlessly hacked away at the shrubs like they were natural weeds. Each hour tore from the earth, extinguishing another of the many lives the white-haired girl had put so much time and effort into tending for. Poor thing, though she did not say a word, was surely thinking. Are you truly thus determined to rob you of me, of my sanctuary? The words twisted around her head, unable to make the final journey to her lips. She stood there looking down at her feet as her husband marched on, and listened to the streams of the roses being reaped. After being torn down by Jaco, the garden reverted to its state of ruin and desolation. A shame after all the work that went into restoring it to the beauty it had under the thoughts and hair plan. And as Jaco had said, in place with scouts metal, trained wheels, prototype models, cardboard rods. These items may have had value for him, but he certainly did not think it was worth robbing his wife of a place that made her feel comfortable, just so he could store them here. Besides, you were rather fond of the rose garden yourself. The roses seemed to evoke a sense of nostalgia. He felt as though, somewhere far beyond the edge of your memories, had seen another garden of roses, modest so may have been, but you cannot remember when it was. Does that come as a surprise to me? You are quite sure there are periods of Mansion's history which you are not aware. But in any case, Jaco had caused many people great pain in order to repurpose that garden for himself, and he continued to walk all over his life. Whenever she tried to do something kind for him, he would brush her off, saying that it's not your place. He paid him no mind whatsoever to the looks of dejection that rose to her face each time he rejected her. You were beginning to wonder if anything she had said about the man he had been a year earlier was actually true. And if it was true, could a person really go through such a drastic change of heart in such a short time? What do I think? You? No, you have spoken enough about me. You have spoken about you already. You seem to be talking a lot about yourself this time. But that is hardly appropriate compared to the maid. Now let us return to our tale. Ailing while her girl staring sorrowfully at her pink wheel. A small mirror before her, she tried spinning the paper disc. It was not just the same as before. Her husband was not there at her side, and even more critically, there was not a smile on her face. And then she heard a faint knock on the door. Ah, time of night? I've grown to sometimes. My good friend. Although, like, terrible husband, am I right? Yeah, I really do divorce him. It's like, he's a terrible husband. Just leave. Preferably, although you're entitled to imagine. Who knows? Oh, something about dancing is the Pride and Prejudice, the book. Dancing seems to be a very common pastime for some reason. Don't even wear makeup. Though she looked outwardly uncertain, Maria led her forward. Around her waist, the white-haired girl seemed to be enjoying herself on the inside. Having spent her life without a single friend, she never dreamed the day would come when she would find herself being dragged through the empty halls of dark mansion by another woman. Maria's presence seemed to shine a light upon the quiet corridor. It would have been a very lonely trek without her. Maria spun around, gave an impish smirk, and raised her pointer finger to her lips with a soft shh. The sight of it caused the white-haired girl to chuckle quietly. The two of them, on their way to their secret private ball, were like two adolescent girls. In short order, they arrived at the great hall. Ah, yes, and we're defending our legs. Wagging on her face, Mary began listening softly and cursing across the floor, dancing with energetic rhythm. It was not the kind of complete dance you see at fancy parties. The motions were simple, flowing, unembellished. A folk dance, you suppose, I might call it. She seemed to be she seemed to be improving a little bit as well. But in any event, the white-haired girl was captivated. Despite it being a sequence of steps anyone could replicate, Maria breathed life into the dance. She was neither as lithe or as an acrobat, nor as light on her feet as a professional dancer. She was her own lively, beautiful self. Maria twirled in place, the skirt of her maid uniform blowing gently around her. With a smile, she extended her hand towards the white-haired girl. She hesitated for a moment, but as if being pulled forward by some invisible force, she took Maria's hand. Hand in hand, Maria ushered the white-haired girl into her dance. It was just the two of them, but I could almost see the crowd forming around them. The other people were stepping up to join in. Whispers of the two girls, their muffled laughs, step hop, step step, the rustling of fabric. Many different soft sounds that are atop one another, creating a little bubble of happiness in the center of the hall. The white girl's movements were a great deal clumsier than Maria's, but Maria would never discourage her for that. On the contrary, she showered her with praise. As flustered as the white-haired girl appeared, you imagine she was quite pleased. Before long, the tightness in her face muscles loosened. A smile spread across her lips, and she began to brighten up. They exchanged looks, and both laughed. That might have been the first time you had ever seen the white-haired girl so delighted. However, because of her infirmity, she quickly found herself out of breath. Her proclaimed skin flushed red. Oh, that's what that is. Maria immediately stopped for a break. She could surely have continued dancing for some time yet, but Maria was conscientious of the white girl's physical condition. Conscientious. Yes. Oh, I can't speak, damn it. She looked over at Maria regretfully. And they're out of there. Smiles on both their faces made to exit the great hall. However, before they reached the door, it swung open. A man's towering shadow cast the two women into darkness, his cold, bitter glitter fixed on them. If you had even the faintest premonition that this might happen, you would have done anything in your power to stop the two cheery girls on the way to the hall. But you are internally powerless. Standing before them in the door was the master of the house, Yakupo. Damn, terrible man. Why did he have to discharge herself? What did she do wrong? What did she do to deserve that? She did nothing whatsoever wrong. She deserved none of the ridicule he showered her with. However, she was not a strong-willed woman. She did not have the courage to thwart the young, yelling at her. And neither did Maria, it seemed. Without another word, they both scrambled out of the great hall, away from Jacopo. The Wild Girl was a painfully miserable sight to behold. The cheer and jade from her spirits, and the rosy hue from her now pale cheeks. She was hushed forward slightly, looking like a small, scared animal. You doubt Jacopo listen to time. And mean for Maria. And you imagine the white-haired girl felt much the same way. However, she grabbed onto the silver of hope. She let herself dream. She let herself believe, even just faintly, that everything would go well. Such is human nature. When uncertainty has you in its clutches, you grasp at whatever hope you can find to keep yourself afloat. At night, she did not sleep. She was afraid that even in her dreams, Jacopo would be shouting at her. She felt as though her memories of the year prior would begin to crumble away. Next morning, Jacopo stood alone in the den by the grill of his store. He appeared to be rather agitated. His face was twisted in a frown, his pointed finger tapped restlessly against the hard surface of the table. Evidently no longer able to stay in one place, he placed a circle around the table. He slipped up a rack and a cue, setting up the game with 9 ball. You are not intimately familiar with the ways of which men entertain themselves. In truth, you were always bewitched by the sight of him leaning over the table. It almost seemed as though a steel rod ran straight from his shoulder to the tip of his outstretched finger, upon which the key was secured by another finger looped over it. With a smooth, flowing motion, he thrust the cue forward slightly, pulling it back and repeating the process once more, before ramming it into the cue ball, sending it rolling into the diamond colored balls. A chorus of clicks and clacks emanated from the center of the room. Balls collided with one another and ricocheted off the curtain walls, a few landing in the pockets situated around the edge of the table. Jacopo appeared to have accomplished this with little trouble, but you imagine merely striking the cue ball with the stick would be rather difficult for someone inexperienced. But despite his accomplishment, it seemed to only exacerbate his agitation. Positioning, he muttered, as though you haven't the faintest idea of what he was talking about. What should have been a game for his enjoyment, he went about with a constant look of exasperation. You suspect he was using it as a way to walk stage, and as a result, the tension in the air was palpable. You felt it would be improper to intrude upon him, even considering your distaste for the man. There was an undeniable beauty in every motion he made, every perfect annual click of billiard balls bouncing off one another. It was an enhancing sight. But then someone without the slightest regard or appreciation for beauty came marching in with a hammer to shatter it like glass. man leaning against the frame of the open door. He was neither a resident nor a worker of the mansion. The man's face was covered in scraggly stubble, his body draped in grim cracked garments. His eyes were sunken so deep as though you were looking at a fleshless skull. There was a feral glimmer in them. Needless to say, he was not prim and proper. In a house from a country Yakuza. He had a particular relationship, though they're not blood related. He referred to Yakuza as family. He came from sunny island, the Mediterranean Sea, a place of many unique customs, and an entire underground society. Koska was a word that originated from and referred to those in the world family. It would be another 30 years or so before organizations like theirs received much public attention. At the time, they were not widely known. This was just a short step into the future, and they would grow so powerful the very mention of them would send chill through the room. How is that? Ventura. I mean, you smoke, my guy. That isn't any better. Damn, the maid. Is the maid I got it? Something. Do you all agree that this maid is strange? It's a house. What is that? Is it the same picture? Ah, nothing exciting. Really? It's the same finish used. I believe. His eyebrows were furrowed, reading the aces in his forehead. Several servants stood off to the side, watching their master attentively as he stomped past them through the corridor. However, no one said a word to him. Had he not been preoccupied tending to his countrymen, he would likely have prevented it. The look on his face would have made it obvious that something bad was about to happen. Something that would serve only to further his misfortune. She was already in less than ideal situation, and it was perched on the edge of a hill, soon to be rolling down into even worse territory. You look like a vampire or something. Well, I mean, you aren't exactly the ideal husband. Really, Yakubo? Yakubo Master House like you loved it, white-haired girl. Ah, really? Terrible man. This is what you saw in their exchange. Normally, love is supposed to be a sweet, warm, wonderful emotion. It makes you care for or value that person even more than yourself. But it was the exact opposite for him. He never knew what love could be such a painful thing. However, did his love end up so twisted? What did he expect to happen by confining and abusing the woman he loved? Perhaps he was conscious of that. To be human is to sometimes find oneself driven by uncontrollable internal impulses. A few days later, Yakuo dragged the white-haired girl from her chamber and led her outside. The garden she had once loved was now a thing of the past. It had become a dreary place. Neria rose in sight, and being taken there did nothing to improve her mood, only saddened her further. The cold grey piles of metal frecking the barren earth seemed to mock her. Her husband led her, the lady of the house, to a shed that had been repurposed into a Spartan living area. She begged and pleaded, but Yakubo would not have it. He shoved her into the sad little shack, locked the door. No music? No horridly sounding music? That's the shack. The bed. Actors young heirs are ministered directly to a white-haired girl when they got her meals. You can almost feel the sound of cracks from her heart. You imagine she had gotten to the point where she was having difficulty merely holding herself together. She had done nothing wrong, and yet she was forced to live like a life of insults and mockery, of ridicule. The only reason her tenuously held together spirit did not completely shatter was because she still had one and only owner. It made Maria volunteer to attend white-haired girl. Maria looked over the duty of delivering her 3 meals. Meaning the other maids stopped coming by. And that relieved the white-haired girl of mental and emotional stress considerably. Maria became her sole conversational partner, her sole companion. She did not leave as soon as meals were finished, instead remaining in the shed with the white-haired girl for some time. And she should have been with a better man. The first story had a decent person, honestly. And sadly, she was not in the right condition of mind, and she left. I don't even, wait, were they? What? Yes, at the time they were half siblings. And then that might just cause him freeze. Like, how would they let her? The man's horrible. Illusion. One full time. How much strength, how much innocence rests within those hands. It's as if they've been completely cut off from all the world's feels. Sucking blood. As I watch her so joyously playing close to her. What? We should call them a family too. That'd make a really interesting story, actually. We're close. I shall stop it here. Goodbye. Let me actually save it. Saved. And that's it.